This is Support is Sexy, episode 329. Let's talk about the money. Welcome to Support is Sexy. I'm your host, Elaine Fluker, entrepreneur, author, and founder of Chic Rebellion Media. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, I interview inspiring women entrepreneurs who share their wins and their lessons to help you take your business and your life to the next level and create something sexy. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Support is Sexy. I'm happy to have you here. It just would not be the same without you. Now, I want you to take a deep breath, breathe in, breathe out. One more time, breathe in, breathe out, because today we're going to talk about money. Now, I will preface this by saying I am not a financial advisor, and this is not an episode about financial advice. But we're breathing in and out because conversations that I've been having about my own response to money and clients and other people that I've spoken to, even interviews that I've done, which haven't aired yet, talking about money. We've been talking a lot about how we have these hangups around, more so not even money, what we charge for our products and services. So I want to talk about what we charge for our products and services, our hangups around those things, what those hangups might mean, and how we might get over them. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And you're doing the in and out breathing and relaxing because sometimes we can get a little tense when we talk about money or charging or some kind of anxiety around. Well, there are a lot of things, and we're going to explore that today. Where does all of that come from? Not getting too deep, because it's really about encouraging you to charge for your value and getting clear on your sense of self-worth. But I want to sort of dig a little bit and ask you some questions. You know, I always got questions. Ask you some questions to help you think about your relationship to money, especially as it relates in your business and how you're charging for things. So money is something that I know we don't often talk about, whether it's because of shame or uncertainty. There are a lot of reasons. We want to make it, but we don't want to talk about it. Or more so, we don't want to talk about our fears around it, right? And the main fear is, am I worth it? So today, as I said, we're going to talk about money as it relates to what you're charging and why you should probably be charging more. Yes, I said it. Charge more. I've heard people say things like, when you think about your rate, think about the fee that makes you the most scared to say or even think about charging, and then add 10%. There are a lot of different ways people talk about getting over this fear of charging. And I don't think it's exclusively something that happens with women. I know women come up against it a lot because, well, you just look at in the economy overall and how we're paid less than men. Just a gender divide there. Women are paid less than men. It's facts. That's how it is right now. So we have some hangups around money for reasons that are already put in place, but we're not going to do that anymore. We're moving forward. We're going to figure it out and decide the best way, especially as entrepreneurs, being empowered, having agency to really ask for what we're worth and what we're developing, what we're creating is worth. Now, of course, before we go into this, I will say that every industry is different. So take from this what you can. This isn't a blanket thing or a blanket cure for everything as far as your thoughts around money and what to charge. These are just ideas. Again, things for you to think about. So now, when it comes to your fee for your product or services, how do you know what to charge? What do you base it on? And how do you know if it's quote unquote right? Now, if you don't know the answer, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with actually being unsure about what to charge. And we all go through that, especially in the early stages of your business or your product or whatever it is. You're developing it. You're getting a sense of it. Maybe it's not perfect, and that's okay. It might be your MVP, your minimum viable product. So maybe it's not perfect. You're not sure what to charge. You don't want to go hit the roof with it because it's not quite there yet. But are you just uncertain about what to charge, which is okay? You can do some more research, which we'll discuss. Or is it that you're nervous about what to charge? And if that's the case, I would say that that might not be a money thing. That may be a self-worth thing. So I want you to check in and figure out what's going on. Why are you nervous about charging more as opposed to just unsure? You're not sure about the pricing. You got some research to do. Is that it? Or do you feel sick about the idea of charging more? And again, this is no judgment. I talk about it because I've been there and I'm still there now, which is why you have coaches and different people to push you through that. Now, some of the blocks that come up for some of us when we think about being nervous about what we're going to charge, something that we talk about often, imposter syndrome. So you're thinking, well, who am I to charge this amount? Or I don't really know that much about this thing. Well, you must, because you started it, you had a vision for it, whatever it is. Or we think about comparison. Someone else is doing it in their way and their thing is bigger. They have more numbers. They have more social media followers. We get all caught up in these comparisons of why this other person is from the outside, because you never know what's going on behind the scenes. The other person, or we even compare ourselves to huge companies that have hundreds, if not thousands of people within their operation, comparing to ourselves and saying, well, who am I to even create this thing, and how am I going to charge for this? Don't get caught up in those things. Those things will, of course, make you nervous about what to charge, will, of course, make you doubt yourself and have struggles with your self-worth. If you're comparing yourself and you're getting caught up in this imposter feeling of, who am I to be doing this thing? Who am I to be charging this much? Also, it might be a matter of you not valuing your work and your expertise. Now, as a friend of mine always says, and I mention this often, you are the expert of your own experiences. None of you are babies, even though we might have some young ones listening. Hey, if you're out there, but all of you have some experience and you are an expert of your experiences. I'm not saying go out there, obviously, and try to be an expert at neurology if that's not what your study is, or don't try to be a cardiologist if that's not what your study is, or any other thing that's not your study or expertise. You learn those things and then you can share it. But your own experiences, no one else has your experiences. I mean, if you're creating something out of that, or something that you've become curious or passionate about and that you did learn about, those are your experiences. So you have to put value, you, not anyone else, starting with you. You have to put value on those things. You have to put value on your work. No one else can do that. If you let someone else dictate that, you'll always charge less than your worth. You'll always feel bad about what you're charging. You'll never feel empowered to say, this is what I'm offering. This is my expertise. This is my value. This is my experience. And this is what I'm charging. Also, if you're nervous about what to charge, not unsure, but if you're nervous about it, remember that your customer will let you know if it's too much. Your customer, your client, if you have something out there at a certain price and it's just not selling, not moving, maybe it is the price, maybe it is too high, or maybe you haven't found the right customer yet. That is something that I learned recently, and someone said, instead of changing your price, you may have to change your customer. Now, sometimes that's hard for us because we're either targeting our friends or people that we know or people like ourselves. We might not be our own customer. We might be creating something for a customer who's going to spend more money on whatever that thing is that you're creating. So is it that you need to change your price, or is it that you need to change your customer? And by change your customer, I don't mean that you necessarily have to change who your quote unquote avatar is, right? So the customer or the person that you're targeting for your product or service. Change your customer, I mean looking at different people instead of just what's familiar to you, getting around the people who might be interested in this thing, getting around the people who can give you great feedback, getting around the people who aren't looking necessarily for discounts on whatever this is, or they're not trying to talk you down from whatever your price is. This is what you said is your expertise, your experience. They value you. They understand you. They're not judging you based on some past knowledge of what you used to do. Well, you didn't used to do that. So how are you going to charge that much? You don't need that in your life. You don't need that negativity. You need to find some new people. You can always offer discounts, until someone finally buys. That's no problem. If you have a price and you want to offer a discount, say, for example, if you have a price of, I'm making up something, $2,000, but you do a webinar and you tell people on the webinar, if you buy by the end of this evening or at the end of this webinar or whatever it is, I will offer this to you for $9.99, $999, not $9.99. So it's normally $2,000. You give a special offer for $999. That's a deal for anyone. Now, anyone, no matter how wealthy, loves a great deal, right? So you offer a special offer that's different than just bringing down your price to appease a customer that might not even be a long-term customer, that might end up being more of a headache for you because they've taught you down to this price, and that might be an indication of what the relationship will be like. Not always, and there's nothing wrong for people who do try to come down and talk down a price and get a discount. More power to you. But for you, as a business owner, you want to be empowered and stand in your power and say, this is what I'm charging. This is why, not to explain it, but even to yourself, this is why, based on my expertise, based on what I'm offering, based on my experience, this is the price. These are the special offers available. And if that person is not with it, that ain't your person. If they've decided they're not your customer, Thank them and send them along the way because your customer, your person, your avatar is out there. Now, in case you don't know what an avatar is, just to speak briefly about that, that is really thinking about your customer, your client, whoever's going to buy your product or service. Who is that person? What do they think like? What do they do? What's their state of mind? It can have a thing to do with age. It can address age, if you will, between 25 and 44, whatever is going to be your key age. But really, it's a lot about the psychographics, right? So what are they thinking? What's their state of mind? What do they do? When will they be using your product? How will this product make their lives better? Some people give their avatars a name, so you can do that as well. So whenever you're thinking about your product, your service, and what you're going to charge, you're thinking about your avatar and would this person, this avatar, buy this product. So that's what I'm talking about when I say your customer and your avatar. Think about that person. That person might not be your friend. That could be somebody that you don't know. In fact, you want it to be a whole lot of somebodies that you don't know, right? Because you want to bring this to the world, not just in your circle. So think about that too. Is that making you nervous? The fact that you're thinking you're going to have to discount because nobody's going to buy it at a certain price. Those people might not be your people. Now, that said, that's if you're nervous about the price. Going back, if you're figuring out your price or figuring out your rates or whatever you're going to charge for your product or service, as we said, do your research. No need to be nervous about that. Do your research. Think about what are other comparable programs or offers that you might admire in your industry charging. Take a look. You always want to look for models of success. It's not that you're copying what anybody else is doing, but we've been around thousands of years. Somebody else is doing it in some kind of way. You want to do it different in your own kind of way, but still there are models of success out there for you. Everyone wants to, I shouldn't say everyone. A lot of people think I have to be original and not do what anybody else has ever done. You're probably doing some version of what other people have done. So go ahead and look at what's out there, things that you admire, again, brands that you admire, products that you admire in your industry and in your space, because, well, one, you need to know because you need to see what the competition is doing, competition in a healthy way, what they're doing and what you can offer. Now, you don't have to charge the exact same amount as they're charging, but this gives you a sense of the range. That's what it's all about. You're not even doing the comparison of your product to their product or your service to their service. Really, it's to help you get a sense of the industry and to help you come up with a range for your own product. Another thing with figuring out rates. Is your product a premium offer? As we mentioned, it might not be the discount version. It could be the premium offer, which costs more, or standard. Or remember, you can also have both. So for me, as an example, I have the Support is Sexy Mastermind, which is a monthly membership option for $29.99. It may go up actually in 2018, just a little bit, because I'm adding some more elements I'm so excited about, like monthly workshops, video workshops with all of these wonderful experts I've talked to. I've interviewed more than 100 and something women at this point, fantastic women. So I want to get them in there to do some specific trainings. So those kind of things take more production, more time. So again, looking at the value and what's it adding and what kind of information and resources will it bring to my avatar, who is a woman who has already started and launched her business, or is someone who is reinventing and wants to get some new information, resources, and inspiration. So the Support is Sexy Mastermind with a membership fee of $29.99 or so could be a great option. It's a subscription, pay each month, and you get access to all of this information and content. So that's the value there. And that is something that would be a standard price, not a low price. It's still an investment. It's just a different kind of investment. Versus the Create Something Sexy program, which is a year-long membership, which is something that is a higher level program. So in that group, it's a higher price at a higher level because it's much more in depth, much more contact. We go over your goals, track your goals, weekly check-ins with a weekly call. So that is something that is a package that is year-long that I would charge more for because it's different than the monthly subscription service, although that does require some content creation and some other things. But when I look at, okay, this is the standard package, and then this other thing is the premium package. Does that make sense? So all that to say, you can have two offers. You don't have to do one or the other, but be clear about this is what this is the offer, this is the value, this is the price on this one that I feel good about. I have to feel good about it first, right? And then I offer it to my client, customer, audience, listener, etc. And then you have your, again, higher level package, meaning it's a premium price. And I feel good about what I'm offering. Again, I feel good about this price. And then I offer it as an option to my customers. So don't feel like when you're figuring out your rates, you have to do one or the other. Figure out what you're going to package, how you're going to offer it, and if it makes sense, not to do too much, because we like to focus on the one thing, not to do too much, but if it makes sense, you can split them up. You want to be able to give people, I believe, several points of entry for you and for your brand. People might be, well, people not even might, people are at different stages in their process, at different points that they want to invest at this time, different points that they can invest because of time, money, other reasons. So if you're able to give a few options and still be of service just in different ways, that is an amazing way to do that. Also, another thing to think about when you think about rate. Don't charge based on the time you'll spend. Charge based on the value that you'll provide. Again, don't charge based on the time you'll spend. Charge based on the value that you'll provide. This is something that I learned actually being in a mastermind last year. Time is going so fast. I guess it was last year. And Rachel Tenenbaum, who's the head of that mastermind, used to drill into me to get out of this sort of freelancer mode. Nothing wrong with freelancing. I still do it. But doing that freelancer mode and thinking, trading time for money it is, right? So by a day rate, this is what it costs for the day, or this is what it costs for a certain number of hours if you're an hourly worker or something like that. Even if you're a doctor, lawyer, some of those people charge by the hour. Nothing wrong with that. But when you're creating your offer to your client or customer, don't think about, well, I'm going to spend an hour on this, so this is how much I'm going to charge. You can think about that. You can consider that to yourself. Keep that in mind. But then you don't have to say that's the way that you're going to base your price. Base your price on the value. Something that I might ask you about, if you're an accountant, for example, I might have a tax question or ask you to do my taxes. Thank you. Shout out to my accountant. Do my taxes. And it might take you 15 minutes, what would take me 3 months, because I'm not an accountant. But if he charged me based on 15 minutes, that just wouldn't be fair to him. It would be a win for me, but it just wouldn't be fair to him. He wouldn't feel good about that, right? So you don't want to charge based on the amount of time it takes you. Hey, him doing my taxes is of huge value to me, and he charges me relative to that value. Trust me. So you want to do that as well. Think about, what is the value that I'm providing? What is this worth? Not necessarily changing it for each customer, although you might do that, you might tweak it, but you should have a sense. Okay, this person wants a landing page made for their website. Maybe that, just as an example, is a thing. Okay, you can do it by, well, it's going to take me 30 minutes to do this, so I'm going to charge $150 for that half hour. Or you can say, this is going to be of value to this person. This is what I'm creating. Don't even think about how long it's going to take you related to the price. Just think about, how long is this going to take me? What kind of value is this going to add? This person is going to use this to build their audience, build value, create content, promote the things that they have. It's going to provide value for them. They could make who knows how much off it. Is it worth $5,000 to them? Ask. $5,000 to do a landing page. I'm just making up this number, but hey, why not? This is something that's going to be long-standing for them. Maybe they can edit it and make changes as they need to, but it's not something that they know how to do for themselves. That's the thing. To digress a teeny tiny bit, when people ask me questions about things like brand storytelling, or even, I created a whole brandstory.tips to find out the free course, how to create your unforgettable brand story. I gave everything away in there. This is what I do. This is the process, etc. It works as far as doing that in order to get customers, because people see how to do it, but most times they don't want to do it themselves, which is great, which is why, as an expert, you come in and you say, hey, this is how you can do this yourself. I have the expertise. This is what it costs for me to do it. So yes, maybe there are some people who will say, oh, well, I don't need this person now. I can do it myself. But there will be more people who see, wow, look at all of the information she shared. She's an expert in this area. She has some experience, right? Some expertise, outlined it for me. I have a sense of the process now. I'm going to pay her to do this for me. So for you, this isn't to say give away all of your secrets, but tell people what you're doing, how to do it, how to create it. If you're sharing it in the context of offering value, not going to do this pick your brain lunch kind of thing, which can be a way of people sort of exploiting you. Not always, but sometimes. So you have to be careful about that. But if there is a way for you to create valuable content, if you were going on TV, for example, for an interview, or a podcast for an interview, and people are asking you how you do things, tell. Those are the most interesting podcast episodes for me, whether I'm doing the interview or if I listen to other interviews. I want to know, how did you do it? I might not do everything. In fact, I won't do everything that you said you did, but I can get a lot of tips from that, and I will always remember that person. And I go to those websites to see how much is it to work with this person, because they knew what to do. They were successful at it. I want to pay them to help me do the same thing. So think about all that to say, wrapping it back up. Think about what kind of value you're providing. And it may be through other ways that you offer that information to people that'll bring them to you. They see the value in what you can offer. So make sure that you're aware of the value and that you charge accordingly. So another tip for coming up with pricing and rates: come up with packages. This is something else that I think Rachel taught me. I'm going to send Rachel a text message or a call because she's coming up too many times. This is something else that Rachel, though, from the mastermind mentioned. Come up with packages. This helps you and your clients see your offer easily, right? So instead of all these bullet points of things that you're going to do or things all over the place, or you kind of do this, you do that, you do this, which is how it happens from the beginning, usually, This is how it usually happens in the beginning. We're kind of figuring out what we're going to offer. And I know for me, it was figuring out what do people want from me. So brand storytelling, for example, wasn't something that I really thought about. In fact, I thought of it more as a marketing thing because it does play into a marketing thing. But I've been telling stories, well, for as long as I can remember, but as a professional for 20 years, interviewing celebrities, interviewing everyday folks, telling their stories, crafting stories, doing bios, doing websites, doing my own content. So storytelling has always come naturally for me. And I didn't see it as something that I could package, but people kept asking me about storytelling. How did you create this brand? How did you come up with the story? How did you come up with the tagline? How did you come up with all of these things? Can you help me do mine? That's how it started, right? I started working with a few wonderful women who wanted different variations of support, women and a few good men who wanted different variations of support with their brand stories and coming up with their bios. A lot of times it takes someone else asking you the right questions to get your story out of you. Something that you think is just inconsequential could be a key factor in your story. So all that to say, come up with packages. And that's what I did. And it's been very helpful for me with the brand story services that I have. So to see an example of this, go to createyourbrandstory.com. You can see the page, and if you scroll down, you'll see that I have 3 different packages there, 3 different levels, right? We talked about the tiers of investment. So one is a spotlight package for someone who's just starting. I think the next one is a showstopper package, a little bit more services, a few more services there. And then there's the superstar package, which has the full Monty, if you will. So you have these 3 different packages, and people can see, oh, okay, this is what she offers. These are the additional things if I can get if I do this other package. You give people different options, packages, package what you're offering. If it's not a product, obviously in a physical package, but especially for you all who do services, how can you package that? Now, you can always add on custom things and that kind of thing, like a menu. You can always add on custom things here and there, but it's difficult to come up with pricing, I think, and I used to experience this, when it's $200 for a bio, $300 for this amount for that. No, this is the package. This is how much it is. You can take things out of it. And I've made this mistake before. People say, well, I only want X. I only want this. This is the package. This is how much it is. If you want to, you can decide if you want to do a la carte things and take things out. But I think once you start breaking up that package, it's almost like the hourly thing we talked about. You start trying to put a price on that specific thing as opposed to, this is the offer. It's like the purse. If someone buys a Gucci purse and then they say, oh, I don't really want the strap. This is the purse. This all comes in the box. You buy it. If you don't want to use a strap, you don't use a strap. But this is what the package is. So think about packages. Go to that page. Check it out as an example. I'm sure you've seen it on other sites as well. CreateYourBrandStory.com just to see what it looks like, the pricing and that kind of thing and how that all works, and give you some inspiration for creating your packages. Now, the last thing I'll say about rates and coming up with your price, maybe not the last thing, almost the second to last thing. Don't play small. Go for the price that makes your tummy hurt, right? We want you to push yourself. You are worth it. You know it. You know I believe in you. You have to believe in you and know that you're worth it. As we talked about, you're an expert of your own experiences. You have some expertise in a certain area. If you're trying to figure out what that expertise is, ask people you trust around you. What am I good at? What would you come to me for as far as a service? What kind of things do you think I can do? It might be things that you've been like, no, I'm not doing that. But it'll give you some idea of what people see that you're good at that comes naturally for you. Like me with the brand storytelling or writing. Writing is something I love, but people pay me to write. I never thought that until I got well out of college. People could pay someone to be an editor and be a writer. Of course, I knew authors. I always thought of writers as authors, right? And people who wrote magazines and things at that time. But there's so much you can do as a writer. There's so much you can do in whatever space that you're in. But ask people about it. What do they think? People that you trust, ask them for you, what do they think you can do? And then come up with a price that makes your tummy hurt. Push yourself and then add 10%, right? Push yourself on that price. I was going to say don't be ridiculous, but maybe be a little ridiculous. Do something that feels ridiculous for you. In fact, as we said, your customer will let you know, oh, that's too much. If no one at all is buying and you think everything else is in place, maybe it is the price. So, hey, if you don't want to come down on the price, do some of those special offers for a limited time and see if that's it. You can always adjust. It's harder, though, to go up in price, even though I know I just talked about that, but going up in price without adding some additional things. It's harder to go up in price. It's easier to say, hey, this is the price, but up until this time, we're offering this, or during this special promo, we're doing this. So you can do that, but it's harder to go up. It's easier to come down, offer some special offers, but know that, hey, I think of this as a premium offer. This is what this is. This is the price that made my tummy hurt, and that is what I'm going to charge. And you will be surprised how many people will pay it, right? And it's not because you're trying to get over. It's because they see the value in it. That's what you have to remember. It's because they see the value in you and what you offer. When you think about these big companies, not even big companies, some of these agencies and in whatever kind of field that charge tens of thousands of dollars. I know some agencies that don't take projects for less than $10,000. You have to think about yourself like that. What is going to be my minimum? This is going to be what I charge for these things. I have to set standards for myself. I don't care if you're a solopreneur sitting up in your second bedroom in your apartment, working it out, whatever you're doing. Are you doing something of value? Are you figuring it out? Does it take time for you to do this thing? Does it take investment in the other things that you have to do? Do you have a virtual assistant, or it's just you staying up all night doing this thing? There's value in that. No one else sees that, but you're working on this. You're getting this accomplished. You're providing value to something, to someone. So charge the amount that makes your tummy hurt. And now the last thing, boldly say your price without apology. And I've been through this. Well, you know, I say nothing that I haven't been through myself, right? I have been through this, saying the price almost apologetically. Well, it's $19.99, $1,500, almost apologizing for what the price is. Again, you're providing a product and service of value, and it is an investment for people. Do you know how many coaches and different kind of mentors and paid resources that I want to be a part of their group or whatever they're doing? And it's not within the budget for the investment right now, but I'm working on that. I am not trying to work them down from that price. If they do something special and have some special offer, as we said, I will jump in, and I've done that before. But some people, hey, this is the price. This is what it costs. I looked through the whole program. I just did that the other day, did a webinar, looked through the whole program. At the end of the program, they said it's $4,000, or maybe it was $5,000. But if you purchase by the end of it, it's $4,000. That is an investment. And you know what? I'm sure plenty of people made that investment. I wasn't one of those people at this time, but hey, they boldly set the price. They laid out what they're offering, their area of expertise, their experience. They boldly said it was a man, interestingly enough, but I know there are a lot of women who can do this. Boldly say the price, and people know this is the investment because they're targeting a certain audience. They're targeting a certain mentality, a certain psychographic, as we talked about. These are people, they want people who are willing to invest that much to get back what they believe will be the reward from whatever their product or service is. So doing that also, these premium prices, it eliminates people who may be more apt to say, forget about it, to not invest. Because look, you want success stories, right? With your product or service. You want someone who's going to pay a premium price, who's going to have results, who's going to have success, and who's going to come back and say, hopefully, this was great. This is what I got out of this project or whatever this is. This is the service that it provided for me, so that other people will be willing to invest that. You don't want someone necessarily that's going to come in for $5, or who wants to come in for $5, even if they pay more, who wants to basically come in for $5, who's going to blow you off because, what's $5, right? They're not thinking about it. They're not invested in the same way. Not necessarily. This isn't always the case. Nothing's an all or nothing, right? But just think about that. You're creating a premium product. You want to charge a premium price because you want people who are going to fully invest in themselves. So they don't want me in the group talking about, well, is there any way you can do it for this? I'm not going to be a success story for them. I probably will be because I go hard for mine, but I'm not necessarily going to be a success story for them, or I'm going to be a lot more work. You want people too who aren't going to be a lot more work for you. They're invested, they're there, they show up. That is what you want. So say your price without apology. You're providing a product or service of value. And now, truly lastly, serve with all your might, no matter how much you're charging. So I'm giving as much energy to the Support is Sexy Mastermind people who get the subscription service and creating that content and making it even better and getting feedback from people who are in the group and really looking at ways to do that to make it even better and better for $29.99 or $39.99 or whatever it's going to be in 2018. I'm serving with all my might. I just did a powerful, actually, workshop with someone tonight that I'm going to be debuting in that group. I'm so excited about it. It is exactly what I envision. It's just so powerful, and I can't wait to share it and for women to have access to it. That's what it's all about, serving with all my might for $29.99. And then I serve with all my might to the Create Something Sexy Mastermind. So those women are getting results, and I'm so proud of them. So to see them move forward from any kind of advice, inspiration, whatever I can offer, or just saying a reminder, hey, you need to do this, or what about that? Don't forget this. It doesn't take genius necessarily to support someone, right? So no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're charging, I want you to feel good about it. Boldly say it without apology, and then serve with all your might. Give your all, not exhaust yourself to the point that you're no good to anybody, but you know what I mean, right? Give your all, serve with all your might, show up. Don't think just because I'm charging this quote unquote little for this, I'm only going to give this much. Map it out so that it still is of value to people. This isn't say it's going to take all your time, but your might. Give it your might. What is it going to do to make that of exceptional value to people? And then for your premium product, what is that going to do to be of exceptional value to people? And then your packages, what are those things going to be so that you feel like you're offering it? You want to feel good about it, starting with you. You want to feel good about it. You want to feel good about yourself. What ways can you create something that you can really feel excited and passionate about so that you can serve with all your might? And in the end, it leads back to creating money for your business. Let's face it, we need money coming into our businesses. So you have to come up with ways to generate money. Unless you're doing something that you're creating a business that isn't about money. Maybe you are. No judgment there. If you're doing a nonprofit or if you're doing something that's not about that, it's just about giving. Wonderful. I'm all for it. But if you are someone who's creating a business that's about money, you got to get clear on these things. You have to think about these things. What are the ways that you can do this? What are the ways that you can create something of value and then serve with all your might so you can have money to do more? That's the thing too, right? Money is energy. Money to do more. Energy, it's a tool so you can do more of the positive things that you're doing in the world. So you can create more, so you can free your mind from any kind of fear or reservations about problems around money. You want to get all of that off your mind and focus on being of service. All right, so I hope this was helpful. It's a lot longer than I planned, but as you can see, I'm very passionate about this for myself and for you. We got to get comfortable and feel powerful and embrace our own agency around money, making money work for us, right? Making money work for us. That is what I want you to do. So give this some thought. You know, you can get in touch with me. Give me some feedback. Social media at Elaine Fluker at Support is Sexy. Email me, Elaine at ElaineFluker.com. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you rocking with these solo episodes the past few days, which were unplanned, but these are the things that are coming up. So I'm sharing as we go. All right. So thank you so much for being here again. I appreciate you. Until next time, you know what to do. Go out there and create something sexy, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.